embrace you here.
You ever played a game that didn't get the best reviews online, but for some reason you still enjoyed that game? Ladies and gentlemen, that would be the Technomancer for me.
Sometimes the past just gives us answers we were afraid to know. I just hope that won't be the case this time.
Even if we find the rover wreck, it'd be easy pickings for a passing scavenger or thief. So there might not be much left.
The fuck you say that for?
Story. Who reading the book? Technomancer is a sequel to an RPG that you've most likely never heard of called Mars Warlocks. For whatever reason, some humans migrated to Mars, and somewhere along the lines, humans lost touch with their Earth ancestors due to the fact that Mars predators destroyed a lot of technology those humans landed on Mars with. Humans now identify as Martians, and they've given up on Earth as they feel abandoned. See, hundreds of years of isolation has led to new nations being formed which are run by greedy corporations with their own agendas. In the middle of it all is a faction of humans who call themselves the Technomancers. Technomancers are humans who naturally mutated to adapt to the harsh new living conditions of Mars. These mutations gave them electric powers, and Technomancers act as super cops for their respective nations. They have their own academies, moral code, and mission to make contact with Earth. You play as Zachariah Mancer, your created character who is fresh out of the Technomancer Academy. Long story short, the campaign is about you finding your way as an up-and-coming Technomancer, betrayal, and ultimately completing the #1 Technomancer goal, which is to make contact with Earth again in hopes of being saved. The game is very dialogue heavy, but I found most of it to be interesting even if the voice acting wasn't the best. In my opinion, the narrative is one of the strongest aspects of this diamond in the rough. Once you get past the prologue and really start to dive into this world, you start to understand things better. I think Spider did a solid job of creating an interesting world, even if this game is still rough around the edges, but we'll get into that later. For now, let's talk about the gameplay. The Technomancer is an action RPG that's heavily inspired by Mad Max, The Witcher, and Mass Effect. The combination of games sounds amazing on paper, but sadly what you get here is a great value version of those three games. It's not bad, but it's not great either. Cutscenes are present, but the majority of the game plays throughout dialogue trees. Someone will say something to you, and you get to pick whether or not to be an asshole, and from there you might get a new mission or you might lose a friend. The game has a lot of different locations with unique looks, which is cool because that keeps the game feeling refreshing, and you have the option to play the game stealthy or combat focused. The stealth aspect of the game is pretty wonky, and it pissed me off too because you have to actually max out your stealth skill tree to be able to knock someone out. If you don't, then you'll just sneak up on people and sucker punch them, which leads to a fight. Combat consists of 3 different separate fighting styles. You have the base class, which uses a staff, the tank class, which uses a club and shield, and the rogue class, which uses a dagger and a pistol. You can switch between all 3 different classes at any point during combat, but it's best to just stick with one because each has its own skill tree and special moves. You also have your Technomancy skill tree, which affects your spell casting abilities. Combat plays something like The Witcher 3 with a heavy emphasis on sidestepping and finessing the enemy, all while stringing together your best moves. I found the combat to be satisfying at best. It didn't blow me away, but the electric abilities were cool. There's crafting in the game as well too. You'll spend a lot of time searching under rocks and through trash cans for parts to craft upgrades for your weapons and armor. Weapons and armor that can be equipped for either you or your teammate, and you'll need to treat the teammate right as well because the Technomancer features a loyalty system similar to Mass Effect where at certain points in the game, teammates will ask you for your help. From there, you'll get to learn more about some of the characters and indulge in some of the best missions in the game. The only problem with them is they never really felt like they affected anything. I couldn't tell what one's loyalty got me at the end of the game, unlike, like Mass Effect 2 where you needed people's loyalty in order to go on that suicide mission. I still enjoyed them, but it was just confusing. Other positive things, the game is a solid challenge that forces you to build your character right, the boss fights were cool, and you could save the game at any point, which was nice going into big fights. But now let's talk about what I hated. No swag. Character customization in the game sucks. You get like 5 preset faces and 5 preset hairstyles, and you can't even make a proper black person. They're either too light or too damn dark. The game's karma system affects gameplay and story in no type of way. See, on Mars, life is precious as they describe it. People's blood is a form of currency. You can use it to buy different types of things at the shop. So everyone you knock out, you'll be given the option to drain their serum. They tell you not to do it too much, but I drained everyone's blood and nothing happened. The voice acting ranges from average to mediocre, but what really sucks is the mouth syncing. The characters' mouths never move with the words, and it's just annoying to look at times.
Follow me, or follow death.
Will you never change, Kane? Is your only path the one stained with blood, paved with hate? The same hate destroying your own people? Look around. This valley was once filled with peace, but is now filled with gravestones. You cannot continue to lead our people down this road.
You have gone too far, Kane. Fight someone your own size.
On the gameplay side of things, I hated the fact that the game is full of backtracking, and to make matters worse, there's no fast travel in such a large game like this. The game also doesn't bother to explain its more in-depth systems. A lot of the game was just me figuring it out through trial and error. Final verdict. Swat, 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 swat. So here's a quick recap of my thoughts on the Technomancer for you slow motherfuckers. On the positive side of things, it has an interesting story. There's lots of different locations that are unique that you can travel to. There's cool spells that you get to cast. It's a choose your own adventure. It's a solid challenge, and you'll get 20 to 40 hours of content from this single player RPG. On the negative side of things, the character customization sucks. Some of my decisions felt worthless. It has inconsistent voice acting. The lip syncing sucks. There's backtracking, and stealth combat was unrefined. So as you can see, each column has 6 things that I liked and disliked. That perfectly summarizes how I feel about this game. This is a middle-of-the-road game that has so much more potential, but due to the fact that the studio making it is working on such a tight budget, it couldn't reach that potential. This is a budget title that launched at $40, but I wouldn't recommend paying more than $20 for it. I think with proper funding and time, a sequel would be fire. I'd like to see one. And those are my thoughts on the Technomancer. Feel free to share yours in the comments below, and when you're finished, make sure to subscribe to my second channel at youtube.com/GIUpdates. We post daily content such as gaming news, mobile reviews, rants, funny gameplays. We got a sports podcast, an anime podcast, a music podcast, and more. It is so much more content there at youtube.com/GIUpdates. I think you guys will enjoy it if you aren't subbed already. So I see you've made it to the end of my video, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to do that. And since you did make it to the end, one would assume that there was something that you liked about my video, so do me a favor and hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. To be totally transparent with you guys, those 3 elements improve my engagement rate on YouTube, which helps me get more views, subs, etc. More promotion means I'm more motivated to create more content for you guys, so just do me a favor and do your part. Hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this video on all your favorite social media sites or I'll beat your ass, boy.